Welcome back to another edition of Recruiter Fuel, and we're in this series called Real Talk with Recruiters, where we're talking to both new and experienced recruiters on their experience that I'm sure all of you can relate to. With me today, I've got David Meese. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
So, relatively new to recruiting.
Yes, very new. About a little over a month now I've been doing recruiting. Yeah,
Okay.
about 4 weeks here.
Why?
I really love the drive of it. It's a lot of fun actually getting to speak to people on a real level. You know, hey, what are you looking for? What are you interested in? What do you see your future looking like?
Okay, what was the background? You've done some acting, you've done some other stuff.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
I do. I have a BFA in acting from Oakland University.
Okay.
I lived in New York for 3 years. Dabbled out there. You know, did a lot of auditioning, reading. You know, I've done extra work in movies, especially when the film industry was here in Detroit. It was excellent.
How do you use that skill in recruiting? Let's start there.
In recruiting, well, first off, communication is key.
Yeah.
If you can speak to anybody, especially over the phones, you know, that's most important. If you're not afraid to get on the phones and really, you know, get real with people. You know, you kind of adapt. I've learned, especially in a lot of speech classes, you read the situation, read the room.
Sure.
You know, you adapt to the person, see what they're, you know, kind of at and where their levels are.
Okay, so you've got a month of recruiting. But we were talking earlier, you've already experienced some things that even really experienced recruiters deal with, and it's this idea of expectation setting. Tell me tell the audience what we were talking about.
Sure, yeah. With actually my very first project I got, my client came to us on our intake call, and they had sent us the job description that we were looking for. I was asking questions, it was going great. They had this big list of requirements that they had.
How many requirements were on the
I'd say
list?
about 10 or 15
And that came right off the job description?
Right off the job description they sent to us.
All right.
And I said, okay, great, you know, and we finished the call. For a couple days went by, I wasn't having too much luck getting any people on the phone. The people I did get on the phone weren't, I wasn't too sure this was the right fit for them.
So of
a little overqualified.
of the 10 or 12 requirements, were they meeting 3 or 4?
I was trying, you see, they were, I was trying to find as many as I could, and that's where I was running into a problem. I was trying to fit every single bullet point on that list, and I just wasn't having any luck.
So I don't know of too many candidates that would have a list of 10 items that they have the qualifications to do or have done.
Exactly.
Okay, so what happened?
Yeah, so we went back, I spoke with the client on our next intake call, and I said, you know what, let's take a look at this list. What is the most important, if you can, you know, out of this top 10 or 15, what would you say your top 5 or 6 are?
Okay,
then,
so without, I didn't mean to interrupt
No.
you, but when you go back to a client, you say, narrow down the list. What about the issue? They feel like they're giving something up potentially. So how do you do it in a way where they don't feel like they're giving something up?
Exactly. Yeah, what I did, I said, okay, let's talk about this requirement here. Like, what about that? Say it's for example, a 2 to 3 years of experience in this. You know, what do you see in that 2 to 3? What do they get in that 2 to 3 years of experience?
So what do they know?
What are they knowing? You know,
Got it.
Does it take 2 to 3 years to acquire this skill?
Okay.
Is that skill already listed as a requirement up here? Is this redundant? You know, can we just kind of trim the fat, as it were? You know, get this really narrowed down to what you need. Is that job filled by another employee that they have?
Okay, so you
really
took
need
it,
that?
you went out to the market, you found that there was really nobody that had 10 or 12 items.
Yeah.
You went back to the client to say, let's really understand what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
Yeah, we fleshed it out, got about 5, 6 requirements. I went back that afternoon. I had set up about 9 phone interviews. I submitted all 9 of those candidates, and about 3 of them are going in for interviews, and I'm very hopeful on one. I think we're going to have a hire on the one.
Okay, so you've got a number of recruiters that are watching in here. So month of recruiting, I get it's not a lot, and you're going to learn a heck of a lot more, but you've gone through an experience that tons of recruiters go through every day. If you would give them 1 or 2 bits of advice to say, you know, do this in order to avoid the situation you started off in, because you started off a little rough in that particular role.
Yes.
What's the 1 or 2 pieces of advice you'd say, you got to do this every time?
I'd say you got to just speak with your client. Make sure you're getting exactly what they're looking for. Flesh out every detail. If you have a question about it, ask. You know, and like I said, try and thin down those requirements. If you think this list is getting way too extensive, don't make it harder on yourself. Talk to them, flesh out what you really, really need, what's 100% important to them.
Now I know every position's a little bit different, but kind of a number that you go after. So if the job description has 10 or 12 items, what are you really trying to get down to that are absolutes?
I get to top 3 or 4.
Okay.
Top 3 or 4, yeah.
Fair enough.
Something like that.
This has been another edition of Recruiter Fuel, Real Talk with Real Recruiters. David, thank you for explaining what has gone on.
Yeah,
and congratulations on 1 month on the recruiting
Absolutely.
side.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll get to you guys next time.